Hi, today I'd like to discuss fairness in the workplace when it comes to staff and managing your staff. I don't believe in having a fair workplace when it comes to managing my staff. I don't believe in having a fair workplace when it comes to the rules that I apply, how I apply them, and the people that I apply them to. I do not believe in an even standard where that's not fair, that they get that and I don't. There was this famous gangster, and I wish I remembered his name, who had a great saying: if you're complaining to me that life is not fair, you're talking to the wrong fucking guy. And that's how I feel when it comes to business. I believe in motivating people through unfairly applying rules to different people based on their performance. I do not believe in having a strict company policy and following this on a regular basis. I don't believe in a strict company policy for anyone. Let's take something simple like lateness, and I'll show you how I deal with it. Let's say we have a very high-performing employee, and to give a little backstory on this, 2.5 years ago, I had different demographics of people working at my business because I had a supply and a repair business within the same space. And it does take a different skill level and a different mindset and a different discipline to find somebody who will do micro soldering on a motherboard properly versus finding somebody who will wrap something in bubble wrap and put it in a box. So, the people working at my low profit margin business who were doing bubble wrapping and boxing and putting in boxes and dealing with returns were very often slightly lower skilled than the people who were doing micro soldering on motherboards for the highly profitable repair business. So on to my point. Let's say somebody was late, and this man was late by 5 minutes. I would talk to him about it. I would discuss how we've discussed this before. I may use shame when discussing certain other aspects of my business with him to make him feel bad about the fact that he was late. If there was a shitty job for that day and we had to choose who of 4 people would get that shitty job, that person who was late would get that shitty job, assuming that this was a lower performing employee. And when the end of the week came, I would be looking at the cameras of my business and pointing out every single fucking minute that this person was late so that I could deduct that exact amount from their paycheck. Now let's talk about the high performing employee. Let's say he or she comes in and she's 45 minutes late, but this is the high performing employee. I may talk to them and go, what happened? Is everything okay with you? Is everything okay with your family? Did you get hurt? Is there anything I should be worried about? Instead of responding with shame and discipline, I would respond with concern for that person's well-being. And I would not ask them once what hours they were late or when they came in late or when they stayed extra. I would never ask that. I would not ask that to them nor in front of others. That would be comped. That would be just forgotten about when processing their pay. If there was a shitty job to do that day, I would make sure other people got it, not this person, because that person must have been late because they had a good reason, because something bad happened, and I don't want to add to their day and make it worse. So what would happen, the 2 things that I would look to have happen would be A, the high performing person looks and goes, wow, I did something way worse than that person did, and there was absolutely no punishment. Is that because I'm doing an amazing job and they're doing a shit job? Maybe I should keep doing an amazing job and seek to do better and better and better so that this treatment can continue. And then B, I would seek for the lower performing person to go, damn, look at how unfair it is that that person can be almost an hour late and be treated well, whereas I'm 5 minutes late and I get treated like shit. Is that because I suck at my job? Is that because I'm lazy, ineffective, and do not get things done when I'm told that I need to get these things done? Now, those are the 2 things I sought to have happen. And what I noticed is that 50% of it happened. The high-performing employees always noticed that they were doing a better job. They always noticed that these benefits would continue if they continue to do a better job. And the subtlety of this, or not so subtlety, the nature of this, would come out to them. But it wouldn't come out to the lower performing employee. The lower performing employee never understood, never caught on, and eventually got fired. I believe that you should have some sort of company policies in place or a baseline for how you deal with certain situations. But I also believe that if you want your amazing performers to continue to perform amazingly, that you need to be a little unfair with these policies, and you need to be able to dynamically choose when you are going to apply the disciplinary action, when you are going to do the opposite of the disciplinary action. There needs to be a human component in here thinking at all times because you want those amazing performers to continue to perform amazingly. And again, you don't want unfairness to work against you. You don't want people to be thinking, I hate that person and I hate this place because they broke the rule and they got away with it. Rather, when properly implemented, you want the unfairness in your work environment to work for you, rather than you having to do the motivation, rather than you having to have long drawn-out talks and performance reviews and performance evaluations and meetings on what is expected of people. You want the company culture to naturally set the expectations of the workers and to naturally motivate them to move the fuck on to the next level. And the way you do that is through not being afraid to be unfair. I meet many, many people who are so afraid at even the slightest appearance of impropriety, even the slightest appearance of unfairness. And you know what happens in these work environments? People do not feel appreciated. And the people who do shit work continue to get away with doing jack shit because they are never called out on it. And in my work environment, each of my staff members knows my exact salary. They know my hours. They know how I spend my money. And this keeps me accountable to them because I have to continue to provide returns to the business so that they feel that I am doing my job, so that they feel like I actually have a worth there. And it keeps me accountable. It keeps me working and it keeps me thinking. And everybody here has an idea of what the other person makes. And if somebody were to bring up at a certain time, why do I make this while they make that? I'm not going to reply with a, oh, well, that's a different position and they were hired at a different time and you can learn that too if you get trained for it, but you weren't trained for it. I'm not going to respond with shame and timidness. I will be more than happy to point out everything that makes this person different from you. And I will be happy to point out that if you can reach this level, then I will treat you accordingly. And I challenge people to go to the next level. I want people to go to the next level. I don't want people to be happy with where they are. I want them to do extraordinary things for me. And through having a bit of an unfair work environment, I encourage people to go above and beyond. And so should you. Don't be afraid of the fact that other people may be looking at the management and saying, why do they get treated like this when I get treated like that? Rather, use that annoying component of the workplace in your favor. Turn a negative into a positive. Turn something that you would usually have to put work in to avoid into something that actually works for you. Motivate through the power of unfairness.